Hey everyone, question for you. How are you starting off your morning? Let's think about this together for a moment. How are you starting off every single morning? More importantly, what are you aiming for when you start your morning? And the reason why I'm saying this is I enjoy my daily devotionals. I'm a big fan of Bob Goff. This happens to be a daily devotional book. It's called Catching Whimsy, 365 Days of Possibility. And I read a devotional every single day, courtesy of Bob Goff. Highly suggest go out and grab Catching Whimsy. But it was a recent daily devotional that got me thinking that's going to set us up for a really, really good time here together today. Goes back to that question. What are you aiming for? And his devotional got me thinking, and the one that got me thinking was titled this: Figure out what you're aiming for, spot what is aiming for you, and chart your path. That was the title of the daily devotional. Figure out what you're aiming for, spot what is aiming for you, and chart your path. And what this really got me thinking about as I reflected on it was unhealthy habits, relationships, and activities that I just leave unaddressed. And the reason why it got me thinking about that, I'm going to ask you to think about this as well. Your unhealthy habits, your unhealthy relationships, or those unhealthy activities are eventually going to drive a wedge between you and what you want to become, just like it got me thinking about the wedge that it's driving between myself and what I want to become. Again, what are you all aiming for? But this is what Bob Goff got me really thinking about, and it was an audit. And this was what was interesting about the audit. In his devotional, he just asked a series of questions that I reflect upon. These series of questions I'm going to ask you to reflect as well. Here was the first question. What is coming up in the next few weeks or months that I need to tend to? Again, what is coming up in the next few weeks or months that I need to tend to? Here's another one. What are some practical, courageous next steps I can take to prepare for and more toward those opportunities or needs? Doesn't this get us forward thinking a little bit? Just those two questions. Now, let's kind of tie this into a sales-centric moment for a moment. And let's think together about what we need to tend to. So here's what I'm asking you to think about. What do you need to tend to this quarter? Over the next 90 days, what do you need to start thinking about? And here's what I want you to do. Ask yourself this. What activities do I need to hold myself accountable to so that I may have a successful quarter? Think about that. Write it down. Grab a sheet of paper and a pen. Write it down. What activities do I need to hold myself accountable to so that I may have a successful quarter? Here's another question. What activities do I need to hold myself accountable to so that I have a successful rest of the year? It's the things that you do right now that's going to affect what happens later on. And here's something else. Here's what Bob shared. I'm going to quote because it was wrapped up in the devotional from Bob Goff. Check this out. We need to learn to toggle between these 3 points of view, short, medium, and long range, so that we can have an accurate picture of where we are now and where we are going. Again, the question is, what are you aiming for? I realize I get it. We all have short-term goals. I have short-term goals. You have medium-term goals, just like I have medium-term goals. But here's what I want you to think about. All this short-term vision may stunt your long-term growth if we don't prepare for what we need to do right now that will keep us in that moment to succeed, not only now, the short term, but medium term and long term. I'm a massive believer in this. Short-term vision stunts long-term growth. Again, just go back and answer those couple questions. What do I need to tend to this quarter? What activities do I need to hold myself accountable to this quarter? What activities do I need to hold myself accountable to ensure that I have a very successful rest of the year? It's those disciplined habits. Disciplined habits are difficult. They don't have to be. It's consistency. Consistency in an inconsistent world is king and queen. Again, what are you aiming for? That's the question this week amongst the other questions that I had shared with you here today. I just wanted to say thank you. I'm grateful for having you in this community with me. Together, we're raising the flag. We're eradicating empty suits as we bring selling from the heart to the forefront. It's about building deep, meaningful, genuine, authentic relationships based on trust, sincerity, and here at Selling from the Heart, we call that just giving a rip. I give a rip about each and every one of you because, hear me out on this, please. Your clients and your future clients, they'd rather connect to and do business with a sales professional who deeply sells from the heart, as opposed to a sales rep who is an empty suit. Remember, be genuine, be authentic. Ask yourself, what am I aiming for? And most of all, sell from the heart.